Coming to the session today. First, we will start again uh, the zookeeper, and also we will start Kafka server. We'll create a new topic. Then we will understand about how to create a Spring Boot application. What are the dependencies required to create a producer application and also to create a consumer application. So that is what today we are going to look into, and we want to just see whether can we able to send a message from a producer application, which is a Spring Boot application, and can we able to consume it by creating a consumer application, which is another Spring Boot application. So just we want to send a Java object as a message to the Kafka broker, where the message gets stored in the topic, and the consumer application will receive that message, and that message gets deserialized into the Java object, and it can process my message. So that is how we are going to send the message and receive the message in a Kafka application. So we are going to create two Spring Boot applications. First, if in case, for example, if you want to start the Kafka cluster in a K-Raft mode, Kafka Raft mode, without using Zookeeper. So then in server.properties file, we need to write in a server.properties file, we need to define these properties. These are the properties I need to define. In the server.properties file, in the server.properties file, by removing the existing server.properties available in that file. Okay, once just we do this, then we can just start the Kafka server. No need to start the Zookeeper, just we can start the Kafka server. So that is called K-Raft mode. These are the set of the properties to be added to the server.properties file. Node ID means broker ID. In K-Raft mode, the broker ID will start with 1. Normally in Zookeeper mode, broker ID starts with 0. That is not a Kafka server instance starts with 0, but here it is going to start with 1. Okay, so we can also start our Kafka cluster with one or multiple brokers. But in the server.properties file, we need to add these properties by removing the properties which we have already added. Okay, so these properties list I'll tell you at the end. So in K-Raft mode, what happens? We don't have any Zookeeper. So one of the Kafka broker will act as a controller. So this property tells whether this instance should run, this server should run like just Kafka broker or as well as controller also, to manage the metadata. We have to specify the process roles. Process roles tells about whether it should act like only Kafka broker or whether it should act like a Kafka controller to manage the metadata. So we don't have any Zookeeper separately to manage metadata. And this property tells about who are the others participating in electing the controller, who are the voters. For example, I have a single, now I can make it as a broker and controller. If I'm creating another Kafka broker, I can just only make it as a broker and I will delete this controller role. Now, who are the voters participating? This current broker and the next broker and the next broker. So I need to write a comma there. The broker ID, the syntax is broker ID at the rate host colon controller port. If I'm starting with 9092 port, I'll say 9092. If I'm starting with 9093, I can say 9093. Okay, right? Here we should specify. Okay. Here we need to specify how the controllers should communicate with the brokers. So we should specify their URLs. Node ID at the rate host colon port. That's how we need to specify. Okay. Now, these are the properties, of course. What we should do now, we have to add these properties. Okay, in the server.properties file. Okay, is going to list. This is the list of voters, means the list of nodes that will participate in electing the controller. If my cluster contains a single node, then only one voter is needed. That's it. Okay. And you need to specify the list of listeners. Here, two ports I'm using. One is for clients to communicate. Two endpoints we need to specify. One for client and broker communication, and one for the controller. That's why we are writing listeners. 9092 for client and broker communication. And a 9093 is to connect with the controller, because it is acting like a broker as well as controller. One is broker, client broker communication endpoint, and one for controller endpoint. Like this, we need to configure. So mainly these are the properties that we need to write in the server.properties file by deleting the existing server.properties file. Otherwise, we can make those properties as it is, but we need to comment the zookeeper connect property. Zookeeper.connect property is there. So that we need to comment it. And then we need to add these properties so that we can run the Kafka cluster in k-raft mode, where zookeeper is not. You don't need to start the zookeeper again. Just you can start like a normal Kafka broker 1, Kafka broker 2, like that. If you want to start another broker, you can just change the node ID in the server. Otherwise, create server2.properties file and change the node ID as to, and change the process roles to broker. Okay, that's how. Okay, that's how the server properties that we need to change. At the end, I will tell you this is the set of the properties to add in the server.properties file. So coming to today's point, what actually that we would like to do today. Okay, today our requirement is practically we want to just create a Spring Boot application. Right, we want to create a Spring Boot application, and one for producer, one for consumer. We want to understand what are the dependencies required. Okay, let's start understanding all of them. First, we want to start a Zookeeper. The command already yesterday I have given you. The same thing we are going to use again. Next, we are going to start the Kafka broker. Then we are going to create a Kafka topic. So then we are going to understand about then we are going to understand about how do we create a Spring Boot application. One by one, I'm going to explain. Okay, then we are going to understand about producer application, consumer application. So today we are going to discuss and finish the practical example of Spring Boot. Let's start now. First, I'm going to open the command prompt and let's have a discussion on. I want to open the command prompt right now. Then I want to run it as an administrator mode. So here, first I would like to enter into bin Windows folder of Kafka. And here, I just want to type Zookeeper server start. Zookeeper server start. File server.properties. Sorry, zookeeper.properties. I need to specify as a command line argument this zookeeper.properties file. Now I'm just going to press enter. Now the zookeeper server will start. Okay, once zookeeper started, then next I also need to start the Kafka broker. Let us open the command prompt again. Okay, let us open another command prompt. And here we want to start the Kafka server. Let's start the Kafka server. Kafka server start. Server.properties. Now the Kafka
In this
server
command
started.
prompt, do we have any interface where we can start directly?
No, you don't have any interface,
Because
but
I downloaded that the command prompt, it's not working.
you don't have any. Only once your brokers and all started, if you want to visualize what are the topics, what are the partitions and all, then you have a dashboard for that. That is a third party dashboard, Kafka tool.io. That is the that we need to download so that we can able to visualize what are the topics, what are the brokers, what are the partitions in a dashboard kind of page, UI page. But whenever you want to start them, then we have to start manually like this if we are not working with Kubernetes. So we need to start like this only. Now we want to start the next command prompt. That next command prompt, we need to create the topic. Go to Kafka folder, bin Windows. And once we are in bin Windows, now I can able to say Kafka topics. Yesterday I told you there is a command in which we can create the Kafka topic. Kafka topics.bat. The command is somewhat bigger one. Then we should say double dash 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 create dash dash topic. And you specify the topic name there. I'll show you where I've written that command for you. This is a command I told. You have to create the topic. So dash dash topic, dash dash create, topic name, replication factor, partitions, bootstrap server. It's a command that I'm going to type. So double dash topic, I'm just going to specify the topic name. Topic name could be any name. So test topic, that's a name I want to provide for the topic. Replication factor is 1 because I don't have multiple brokers, only one broker I'm using. Single node cluster we are using. Next, double dash, I should specify the number of partitions needed. I can say partitions more than one also, because I told already partitions is not depending on the number of brokers available. Replication factor number should be less than or equal to the number of available brokers. But partitions can be multiple, but for my example, just one partition is enough. So double dash partitions 1. Next, double dash bootstrap server localhost colon 9092.
What is the purpose of a bootstrap server?
Yesterday I told already. Bootstrap server purpose I told yesterday. Just it is to specify in which Kafka broker you want to create the topic. It is replicated onto others, okay. But you can specify while creating the topic in which Kafka broker you want to create the topic. Based on the replication factor, then it will be replicated to other brokers. This is the broker host and port. If two brokers are there, I can specify localhost colon 9093, which means I'm telling that you create this topic on second broker. If I say replication factor 1, it will not be replicated to broker 1. Replication factor 2 means replicated to broker 1 also. That is to just to specify where you want to create the topic. In which broker you want this topic to be created. You can specify with the help of bootstrap-server. So now the topic is created. Topic name is a test topic. Now coming to, so all these command prompts I'm just minimizing. Let us verify whether all of them are running or not.
Sir,
This is
once we
topic is created. Topic is created. Let us continue.
sir,
Topic is
once we
created. Next one is about, this is done. This is Kafka server. It is running on the port node ID 0, running on the port 9092. Next one.
sir,
This
once
is the
we
zookeeper.
go,
Zookeeper started.
sir, once we do up Kafka server and Zookeeper, it's guaranteed then never goes to server down.
Now, who can say that?
No, sir, because I faced a lot of issue in middle Kafka server and
That's
Zookeeper
what you
both
need to go
down.
through dashboard and check now. Okay. There is a separate dashboard UI visualize. There are third-party tools available to see visualization dashboards. Okay. So there you can find out whether your server, which broker is up, which broker is down.
Okay.
Everyone go through this URL aqhq.io. For the time being, we are not discussing about this. aqhq.io. Manage and view data inside your Kafka cluster. Okay. Refer the documentation, download it, and try to use it. I'm just giving a hint. Go through this aqhq.io. Okay. Now, let's start with the IDE. So first, we are going to create two applications today.
Sir, if you want to replicate, we need to give like a bootstrap server 9093 also, sir, right?
No, you don't need to replicate. You specify replication factor. That's it.
Okay, sir.
It will automatically replicate in the available brokers.
Okay, sir. Okay. Okay.
You given replication factor, na automatically replicate. You
No
need to
need to give like
specify.
a no bootstrap
No,
server
no,
9093, sir.
no,
Okay,
no.
okay. Okay, sir.
If you want to create your topic in 9093, then you write bootstrap server 9093. It will replicate onto 9092.
Automatically. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
If you specify replication factor, not automatically. If you
Oh,
specify the
replication.
replication factor too.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Come to the point here. See, our requirement is now today we would like to have an application, 2 Spring Boot applications we want to start. One is to produce the message and other one is to consume the message. Let's see. First, what are the dependencies needed if I'm trying to produce? Next, what are the dependencies and configuration settings are required in Spring Boot? If at all I want to consume. So let us understand them. I would like to
The native Spring also we can connect Kafka, right?
sorry.
Native Spring, natives without Spring Boot. We have a Spring.
Yeah. Spring
You can
framework.
connect Spring framework. You can connect the Kafka.
Yes.
Okay.
Kafka can also be used without using Spring framework. Okay. Kafka API is there. Producer API, consumer API is there. I can create a Java application without using any Spring Boot or without using any framework of Java. I can just create a normal Java application by using Kafka producer API. I can create a Java producer program. Using consumer API, I can able to write a consumer program and I can produce and consume the messages without using any framework of Java.
Okay. Got it. Thank you, sir.
Yes. So what we will do now, we want to create 2 Spring Boot applications today. One is to produce the message, another one is to consume the message. Just a minute. Okay. Now, requirement is now we want to start. We want to create a new Kafka producer application. Then we want to start a Kafka consumer application. But first we want to start creating a new Spring Boot application for Kafka producer. Let's see. There are a couple of dependencies required. There are a couple of dependencies required, and now we are going to understand what are the dependencies required in the form.xml. Okay, as usual that we need. Okay, as usual that we need Spring Boot starter web dependency. And DevTools dependency is, if you want, you can add it. You know what's the use of DevTools to restart the server automatically whenever some changes are made in the application code. Okay, Lombok dependency for just generating the setter getters. But apart from that, there are two more dependencies we need to add. One is called a Kafka streams dependency. Next one is called Spring-Kafka dependency. So this is the dependency through which I can able to integrate Kafka and Spring together, and I can work with them. So for that reason, there are two more new dependencies we need to add. One is called Spring-Kafka dependency. Next one is Kafka-streams dependency. And just we are going to add the web dependency, and we are also going to add the DevTools dependency, and remaining dependencies will come automatically. Lombok dependency, and all the remaining dependencies will automatically come. These things we no need to add by ourselves. Okay, let's start. First, let us start with the new Spring Starter project. This is a producer app. Producer service. Just I'm creating like that. Okay. Package name can be any name. Let's say com.example.demo. It's not a problem. Okay, that's a package. Now, let's say package name com.example.producer. Now here web dependency that we are going to add 3.5 is very latest. So very latest will have an issues. Okay. I will go with. Okay. I will go with web dependency first. Let's add the web dependency. Web dependency is required. So web dependency, Lombok dependency is required. Let's go with Lombok. There is a web dependency, there is Lombok dependency, then Kafka dependency. So we need to add the two, Apache Kafka dependency, Apache Kafka streams dependency. So these are the four. DevTools dependency, if you want, you can, but it's not mandatory. It's up to you. Spring Boot DevTools dependency. If any further dependencies are required, then we'll see later, but I think so these are enough. So web dependency, Spring for Apache Kafka streams, Lombok, and DevTools. Now we are just going to create the project. So it is downloading all the Kafka and Kafka streams related dependencies here. Once all the dependencies are done, I can able to see my project here. I can switch to Project Explorer.
So this a Spring tool we can use it to create a Spring Boot application.
Sorry.
No, you're using that framework, right? I mean, Spring tool shoot.
That is IDE.
IDE, okay, IDE, right? Okay. We can use IntelliJ also, right?
Any IDE, sir. IDE is what? Any Java IDE which is compatible we can use. So once it is done, we want to just look at once the dependencies which are available in the form.xml. Once it is done, we want to just check the dependencies which are available over here. So we need Spring Boot Starter web dependency, Kafka streams dependency, Spring Kafka dependency, and of course DevTools dependency and Lombok dependency, which I need. Okay, so I got all the dependencies, whatever is needed. Now, so I want to produce here actually. If I want to produce, what I want to produce, I want to send a customer as a message. That's what today we are going to look at. I mean, one customer class I have. I want to create an object of a customer class. I want to send that object as a message. So I will tell you how, because like how serialization concept is available in Java, like object is converted to a sequence of bytes. Here also serializer classes are required and we need to configure them. I will tell you in the application.yml file how we can configure them. So first I want to create the class called customer. And I would like to have some customer ID, name, and email address, something like that. And I want to define constructors like no args constructor, all args constructor, setters and getters, toString. So these kind of things using Lombok annotations, we can do that. So first I want to create a class called customer. So what I will do now, I will just go, I just want to create a package here. I am going to create a new package under this producer, that is a parent package, and then I'm going to create a sub package. Let's say it is a model. Now here I want to create a class called customer. This is the class. I just want to write. Okay. There is. So this is my customer class and which does not contain any logic. Just it is an object to hold the data. That's it. I have something called no args constructor, all args constructor, at the rate data. So no args constructor will create a constructor without arguments, and this is to define a constructor with all arguments, and this is to generate the setters, getters, toString, hash code, equals, all these things. So that is all Lombok annotations we have added. These are all the Lombok annotations, and with which we can automatically get the boilerplate code. That's the advantage of working with the Lombok annotations. So customer.java is okay. Now let us go ahead and see creating the next. I want to create a next one more package. Let's say I want to create one service package. Producer.service. And here I want to create one service class that depends on Kafka template. In Spring framework has provided one template class called Kafka template, and that Kafka template can able to send a message to the Kafka topic directly without using any Kafka producer API or without using Kafka consumer API directly without using them. Spring has provided some API for us to integrate with Spring applications with Kafka. That is called Spring-Kafka library. So there is a simple class given called Kafka template. Just one template class is provided, and use that template, send a message or publish the message to the Kafka topic. Where we need to configure all these things. We are going to configure the topic. We are going to configure the other Kafka, like Kafka broker URL. All these things we are going to configure in the application configuration settings. And that is actually in the YAML file or properties file. Okay. So what can I do now? I have created one class called as customer service. Let me show you the customer service and how it is going to look like. Now, this is something that we want to discuss now. I mean, I can say that there is a service class in Spring that is called customer service. Of course, we have given annotation at service, that is a Spring annotation. And our service class depends on Kafka template. Kafka template is a predefined class, which is given by Spring Kafka API. Now, it is a generic class, obviously. There are two type parameters. We should specify with two type parameters to specify the key type and the value type. Whenever we are going to specify some key, the key type and value type must be specified whenever we are working with the Kafka template. Then what happens, this template will publish or send messages to the same partition which are having the same key. Okay, if there are multiple partitions are there, then what we can do? We can send the messages with a key. Whenever we send messages with a key, all the messages which are having the same key, that will be stored into same partition. That will be taken care by Kafka cluster. If a message comes with a different key, that will be stored into another partition of the same topic. The messages which are sent through same key will be stored into one partition, a single partition. So when you are using Kafka template, we should specify the key type and also we should specify the value type. Value type is a customer. Key type is a string. That key could be string or key could be integer, key could be, it's not a double, I think so, but it could be any integer or string type. Because the key of a partition in the Kafka cluster, I think could be either integer or string. So when I'm calling send method, I'm going to specify topic name. I am also going to specify key. I am also going to specify the data. So this data will be stored into same partition that is sent with this key. If I'm sending another data with the same key, then again that data also goes to same partition. So that is I mean, how can I tell the Kafka that store all the messages in one single partition only? So by providing the same key. If I change the key, then it will go to another partition. Like that. So that is one facility that we have here. So we are having a different send is an overloaded method. When I say Kafka template dot, if I say Kafka template dot send send, you can find out there are so many overloaded methods are there. Send. You can see integer partition. Even you can specify the key. This key is to map with this data. And we can specify even partition number also as an integer. So I am using this send method. Topic, comma, key, comma, data. This one. There are up to this send, you are having multiple send methods. Send with producer record. Suppose if you know how to create record classes in Java 17. This is topic, comma, only data without specifying the key. This is topic and key, then data. You can specify. So I'm just going to use this one. And the return type of all these send operations is completable future object. Means it is asynchronous communication, doesn't wait for acknowledgement or response from the Kafka server. Means it will simply send and it doesn't wait for any response from the Kafka broker. It will continue the work. And we can handle whether what happened to my message, whether it is stored or whether any failure or exception occurred by using exception handler added to the completable feature. We need to define the Java concurrency code with the completable feature using Java 8. So this method I'm calling. I want to send the data as a customer, and if it is done, then this method should return a message that customer added to Kafka topic successfully. This topic name I'm going to inject the value by using @value annotation, because topic name I'm going to configure in application YAML file, otherwise properties file, whatever it is. By using @value, we can inject the value. Now I want to inject the value from the configuration property called topic.name. If you want to inject like that, then we are going to use a placeholder by using a syntax called $ with curly braces. And this is basically called as defining a placeholder. Okay. Now, this method add customer, I'm going to call from REST controller. Okay, this method I have to call from REST controller. So I want to define one REST controller, and that REST controller as a handler method. That handler method will call this add customer method, which means I'll show you what the controller that I have. In that, I'm just creating one API post endpoint I'm defining. I'm creating a handler method, and I'm just going to define for which URI it can handle, and through which HTTP method it can handle the request by using annotation called post mapping. @post mapping is annotation. To configure the REST URI or REST API endpoint and HTTP method, we have annotations. Like we are going to use post @post mapping, get mapping. So here I'm going to use @post mapping. So I have a controller, REST controller, not Spring controller. REST controller depends on service. So I'm going to auto-wire this service to REST controller. So now next what I'm going to do is I will just create one new package, let's say API. Now here I want to create one REST controller class with annotation @REST controller. Let me change the package. And you can see, this is my REST controller. I named it as customer controller. I'm auto-wiring the customer service, and I'm defining one endpoint called publish. And this endpoint will call the operation called add customer. And here you need Spring Boot knowledge. Already you know how to write REST API endpoints using Spring Boot, using Spring Framework and Spring Boot. The return type I'm using response entity. And this is to hold all the complete response that you want to send from this controller to the front controller dispatcher servlet. Whenever I call add customer, it is going to show me a result. I mean, it's going to return me a result, and I just want to send the same result in the response body. I want to add the same data in the response body with HTTP status OK. So response entity is an object, and this object holds the information about the complete response. What should be there in response body? Okay, what should be the response status you want to send, or if any HTTP headers you want to send in response, you can also add those headers. All this information can be kept and can be put into one object, and that is called response entity object. And you know what's the purpose of request body annotation? This is to actually, while invoking this endpoint, we are going to invoke from Postman. For API testing, we are going to use Postman, right? So we are going to send data in the JSON data format. So that request body, which is having data in a JSON data format, to deserialize that data into Java object. So we have the annotation called @request body. And these are all Spring annotations, which you already know when you're working with a Spring and Spring Boot. Okay, we have REST controller annotation. These are not any Kafka related things. Here, everything is a Spring framework and Spring Boot with REST API. We have annotation called auto-while. We have something called post mapping, and we have annotation called request body. So these are all the annotations, and I have used the return type as a response entity. Response entity is an object where I can put response body, where I can put the status of the response, and where I can also put if any headers are needed to be sent to the client. I can keep all them into a single object, and that object I can transfer to the front controller, which is there before this my REST controller. And that is called, in Spring terminology, dispatcher servlet. So it will prepare the response with the help of the data that I have given. And based on that, it will prepare one response message, and that will be sent to the client. Or that will be forwarded to the client, whatever it is. This is the customer controller. And there is single endpoint called publish, and it is accessible through HTTP post method. Not with get, it is with post. Now, coming to properties files. This is application.properties file. Otherwise, we can also create application.yml file. This is a YAML file. The file name is application.yml. My application name is producer service. Okay. And my topic name is test topic. That's what I have created. Now, the properties is spring.kafka.bootstrap servers. If there are multiple values, then you should specify the multiple. You should configure all the bootstrap servers available in Kafka. I have only one server, so I'm writing localhost colon 9092 is a port. If there is another server also running as a Kafka broker, then we also need to specify in the list localhost colon 9093. So this is how first we need to configure the Kafka properties, spring.kafka.bootstrap servers. Next is spring.kafka.hierarchy producer, and there is two properties we need to configure called key serializer and value serializer. So like how we have serializers in serialization concept in Java, in Kafka also everything should be stored in zeros and ones only, because Kafka topics can store only binary data. Kafka servers can store only binary data. They can't store directly Java strings or Java objects. Okay, the message is going to be stored in the Kafka broker as zeros and ones. So we need to configure the key serializer and value serializer properties. What is the serializer class to be used? For serializing the key and for serializing the value. Here value is a customer object, Java object. That's why we have configured JSON serializer. Okay, it is a Java object. So it is a predefined class given by Spring Framework. There is a class given called as JSON serializer. And this JSON serializer will convert my Java object into JSON format. And then it is going to convert that JSON data into zeros and ones, that JSON string into zeros and ones. And that will be sent to the Kafka server, because Kafka can only store binary data, zeros and ones. The messages are stored in zeros and ones. It can only able to store zeros and ones, binary data. Next, what we have to do now? Yeah. Now, we should specify, of course, the topic name is not mandatory here to write. You can directly assign this value at the time of writing your code. Otherwise, because I have used annotation called @value. And when I write @value, this annotation will search for a configuration property called topic.name, because I've added a placeholder with the property name as the placeholder variable is topic.name. So that's why I've configured topic.name, but it is not any Spring compulsory or it's not mandatory. You can directly assign the value here. You can assign the value here directly by creating a default constructor. Topic name is equal to test topic. But in further future, if I want to change the topic name, then again I have to modify the Java code. That's why I have just configured in the YAML file, application.yml file, topic.name is a test topic. This is a YAML file required for producer. This is only producer application. Similarly, next we need to write consumer application. This is only producer application. Next, we need to start creating the consumer application. And even in the consumer application also, I'm going to create one REST controller. I'm going to create one service. And we need the model class there also to deserialize. Here we are configuring serializer classes. In the consumer application, we are going to configure deserializer classes in the application.yml file. So what is the next step I'm going to do? Like producer application, now we need to start creating one more service called consumer service. That is another Spring Boot application. So there are two different Spring Boot applications basically. Producer service application and consumer service application. Let's see how we are going to use. So first we want to create a new starter project. And the name I want to give it as consumer service. Let's say the package name I want to use consumer. And all these dependencies required. Whatever the dependencies that we have selected for the previous application, all the dependencies are required for even this application also. Now we are moving to consumer application. Okay, let's see. Here also same dependencies we need. Web dependency needed, Kafka streams, Spring Kafka, DevTools, Lombok, and remaining all okay. The same dependencies we need, and we don't need any additional dependency for consumer separately. The same dependencies needed. Now this is my consumer service. Now I need to open even pom.xml because same dependencies anyhow they are added. Now I just want to create again this model, because here I'm going to deserialize this message from Kafka broker and convert it into Java object. Into which object I need to convert into customer object. So that's why I'm creating the customer class here also. So I will do one thing. I will simply copy this model called customer by creating a new package here called model. Okay, this is my customer. I am creating the customer, the model, because this consumer is going to receive the message from Kafka broker, and after receiving it is going to deserialize that message into Java object. So for that we need the model class to store the data. We need to create a model object. So the model object should be of type customer. So that's why we are creating a model class in the consumer application also. And we need service class. We create a package called consumer.service. Like producer.service, here we have consumer.service. Let us look at the consumer service. So here we are going to understand some annotation called Kafka listener. Kafka template can send the message, but there is one annotation given by Spring Kafka to mark that this method is a message listener. To mark that this is a Kafka message listener, there is one annotation given by Spring Kafka library that's name is called @Kafka listener. Means what? Whenever any message is arrived to the Kafka topic, okay, whenever any message is arrived to the Kafka topic and a partition, this method is invoked automatically by Spring. This method is automatically invoked by Spring whenever any new message is arrived onto the Kafka topic. So to mark that this method is a Kafka message listener, Spring Kafka library has provided, or Spring Kafka module has provided one annotation called @Kafka listener. So we don't require Kafka template dependency. Kafka template dependency object. So why we don't require Kafka template dependency object? Kafka template object is for sending. Okay. So we are not auto-wearing the Kafka template here. We are not auto-wearing the Kafka template object. We are having an annotation given by Spring Kafka library that is called Kafka listener. And this annotation will mark that this method is a Kafka message listener. And Spring only, whenever any message is arrived to the topic, the given topic, we should configure the topic by using topics attribute or parameter. And we also need to configure the group ID of this consumer by writing group ID. We know that consumers can be formed like one group when they are the consumers having similar type of work, when they are doing the same type of work. So we can make those multiple consumers as one single group. So if even though you have a single consumer, but it must contain some group ID. So every consumer, a group may contain one or more consumers, but each group is identified with a group ID. This is the annotation called Kafka listener. And there is one annotation available called @payload. This is also from Spring Framework. Okay. and that is to bind. We cannot use request body annotation. Request body annotation is only used to parse the message and convert it into Java object if it is coming in the HTTP request body. But this time the message is arrived to the topic, not from HTTP request. Message is coming from Kafka topic. Okay, understand the concept. That's why the annotation is not at the rate request body, it is payload.
Sir, if we have one group in which 2 or 3 consumers, then how we will consume?
I didn't get you. Can you come again?
Yes, sir. In a one group, if we have a 3 consumer, then
Hmm.
how we can identify which consumer is going to consume that message?
No. There is no identification is not like that. When a message is consumed, that consumer should do some action. See, what is consumer responsibility? Take the message and do some action on that. Otherwise, what is the use of consuming that message by the consumer? So if for example you have one consumer and that consumer has done some action, that action result will be there at somewhere. That result you have to observe whether it could be in the database, or it is maybe inserting a record into the database, or it may be what I can say, performing some action in writing into another Kafka topic. Okay, that you need to see. And suppose if you want to visualize like that, that's what I told. You have a good dashboard available, and that's called AKHQ. There you can see who are the consumers, okay, and to which topics and which partitions they are connected. All this information can be visualized in the form of your dashboard, but that is not given by Kafka. It is a third party, and that we need to use AKHQ. Okay, that we need to download and we need to install. Then we need to start, and we can open the dashboard page. In the dashboard page, we can observe it. It will show the complete information in the AKHQ dashboard. Okay, that is a way how you can find out which consumer, okay, has processed this message. It will show all that information. That is possible with some other UI dashboard page, but not directly in the Spring.
Sir, is it a push message or is it a pull? The consumer will pull the message, right?
No, I mean, Kafka listener, see, we can also, this is called publish subscribe model. If once I am subscribed to a topic, I will continuously get them, right? Suppose I am a subscriber of a weekly magazine. I paid rupees something for subscribing that weekly magazine. Then every week they will only automatically send to that magazine to my doorstep, right? I no need to go and collect it.
Okay.
That is
Is
called
it not
subscribe.
like
This is called
putting
publish
in a
subscribe
queue?
model.
It is not like putting in a queue and you go and pull from the queue.
That is point-to-point communication.
Okay.
Okay, that is called point-to-point communication. That is queue. It is topic. Okay, that is point-to-point model. This is publish subscribe model. This is another type of messaging model. Once you are subscribed, you will automatically get everything until you stop. Okay, suppose if I'm not paying for the next month, they will not send me any weekly magazines again, okay, to my doorstep.
Okay, then it is a push model kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Publish subscribe. Yeah.
Publish subscribe.
Now, okay.
Got it, sir. Thank you.
Good. Now coming to the point, I just want to tell that this is not request body annotation, it's a payload. It's not, because it is not coming from HTTP request, it is coming from Kafka broker. So I want to bind this method parameter with the message that is coming from Kafka broker from this particular topic. So to convert that message, which is in like zeros and ones, into this Java object, I am going to bind it by using annotation called @payload. Okay, so this is binded with the payload of the message. Payload, I mean body of the message. That's called payload. This is annotation that binds a method parameter to the payload of a message. Now, where should I configure my group ID? I can also configure the group ID in properties file or YAML file. Otherwise, I can directly write here itself. I've written here. Actually, I can also configure it in the properties file or YAML file, whatever it is. And topic name I have configured in the YAML file. I'm using a placeholder here. Now we will discuss, because we want to run this code also today and we want to wind up it. So I just want to create one new package called API.API.
Shekhar, a few questions.
We will continue first. Okay, no questions right now. First we want to complete. Then after that I'll take the questions if time permits. Okay, because first we want to complete. Okay, we are in the middle of the application. Otherwise it will be okay. First let me show. Oh, okay. So here I'm just defining one endpoint, subscribe, and I'm using it as a get endpoint. I'm not using put. It's get, because I'm not sending any message. I'm just only receiving from server. So if I'm posting something, that too, if it is any sensitive information, then I should use HTTP post method to send it to the server. But whereas in case when I'm talking about retrieval of the message, and simply I'm using HTTP get, and this is an endpoint, that is a URL that I've defined. And this is the method or the handler who can handle any request that comes to this URL. So this is the way how I can map. And also I can map HTTP method, and to map the HTTP method and a specific endpoint of my application onto a particular method, then we have annotation called get mapping, post mapping, put mapping, like that. So again, same story, response entity is an object I'm constructing to send this result, and also this status code HTTP status.ok. I'm converting the customer object into a string by calling toString method, because whenever we write @data annotation, it will automatically generate setters, getters, hash code, equals, toString. All the methods will be generated by this Lombok annotation. So my Java object is converted to a string. So this is my controller. So there are two endpoints. In producer application, publish is the endpoint. In consumer application, subscribe is endpoint. Two endpoints. That is post endpoint. This is get endpoint. Now, in application.yml file, because when I'm starting producer and consumer at a time, my both applications are going to start using embedded Tomcat server. The default port number of embedded Tomcat server is 8080. So two applications I can't start on the same port number 8080. I will change the port. Okay, for one of them I can change, or for both of them also I can change. It is not a server.port is a property I can add in application.yml file. Here you are going to find deserializer properties now, not serializer, deserializer properties. The opposite classes we are going to configure here. It is consumer service. Okay, and the bootstrap server same. If multiple brokers are there, we need to configure their URLs here. Bootstrap server URLs. Actually, group ID I have already given there. Directly I have given as my group, and no need to configure group ID here. This is optional. I can keep in comment because I mentioned it directly in my annotation itself. And that is what I told you. You need to configure deserializer classes. So we have like a serializer classes. We also have deserializer. The deserializer classes will convert the message which is in binary format into string type, the key into string type and value into Java object type. So opposite classes of serializers are called deserializers. And we also need to configure some additional properties here. JSON trusted packages. Package name is com.example.customer.model. And it is customer.model. Sorry, it is not customer, I think consumer. Package name is consumer.model. And this is consumer.model. Class name is customer. These are the additional properties we need to configure. These are the new properties. Okay, I just Googled it and I found that these two properties, initially when I'm executing, I got some kind of deserialization fail. So then they suggested that add these two properties. We have to check what exactly they do, but I have added. Okay, please Google it to know. Package names we are writing correct, but what the purpose and all that you can Google it and find out. I also need to do that. Okay. Topic name is a test topic. And this server port I have changed it to 8087. Okay, because 8080 port for producer, 8087 port is for consumer. These are the two applications, producer and consumer, the two applications. Okay, now application.yml, I made some changes. Yes, I did some change. Save it. Yeah. Now we have the two applications. Now our requirement is we have to first start the two servers, producer and consumer. And first we'll check the topic is created. This is running. This is Kafka server. Kafka server started. And this is the Zookeeper server started. So they are running. I'll simply close all the other. Okay, then let's go back. Now we want to first build these two applications. So producer service first will build it. Consumer service will build it. Of course, I can also do through Maven commands, men clean package -d skip test from command prompt. Otherwise, you can directly build within IDE because already I have opened 3-4 command prompts. So it may be difficult to understand if I'm suppose opening another 2 command prompts. Okay, so I'm doing from here. Clean is not required now because I don't have any previous build. That's why clean is not required. But still, if I write also, there is no issue. That's why I'm writing. But when you build it from next time, then you should use clean. So at the same time, I do not want to execute any test cases, default test cases, which are added at the time of, creating the project using Spring Starter project option. So I want to skip executing the test cases because there is no use with the test cases right now. We want to build it. Then we want to build the consumer service. Okay, then after getting success, just will refresh once and we will start. We will start the producer service. It runs on port 8080. We can run it as a Spring Boot app. So now we can see simply that it is running on port 8080. Okay, we'll keep it like this. Now we'll build this consumer. Clean space package space -D skip test. Let us refresh. Now it's built success. After refresh, then we can start by seeing run as a Spring Boot app. Now it should start on the port number 8087. That's it. It started. You have to check whether it started on the port 8087 or not. These are all Kafka related. We don't worry, but we need to check here whether server is started or not. Server started on the port number 8087. Okay, these are the config values it is going to use. And if I do not want to display, I can add a property so that all these properties I no need to show on the console. Okay, by setting the log level to warn or error. But it is started on 8087. So the two applications started, our two Spring Boot applications. Now what I need to do is I have to call the publish endpoint of producer application first. By using Postman, we are going to send a request to this publish endpoint. I'm going to send HTTP post request, and in the request body, I'm going to send a JSON data, and that JSON data should match with the customer. I should send customer ID, customer name, customer email. Okay, let's do that. So what I will do now, 8080 is a port. Let's open Postman. Producer runs on port 8080. Endpoint is publish. HTTP method is post. And in the in the request body, send a JSON data with the customer ID, with the customer name and customer email. We will do that. This is post.
Localhost 8080.
HTTP localhost 8080/publish. Because my endpoint is publish. And I should click on body, then raw, then JSON. And now I have to enter the JSON data here. With the key customer ID, let's say value 101, comma, it's an integer value. Customer name, let's say Ellen. Customer email, let's say allen@gmail.com. This is a JSON data I should send in the request body. I'm going to send this JSON data in request body. And if this message is sent successfully, I will get a response back saying that message is sent to the topic successfully, something like that. I can expect the response here in the response section from this endpoint. So customer added to the Kafka topic successfully. This is the response I am receiving from, not from customer side. Not from consumer service side. Just my endpoint is returning after sending this message to topic. Now this message stored in topic. Now we need to send a get request to subscribe endpoint. to check. Now this is the request not to the publish, it is to subscribe. So what should I write now? HTTP localhost 8087 it is not 8080, it is 8087 / subscribe. And it is HTTP GET request, it's not a post, it's a GET request. Localhost : 8087 / subscribe, it's a GET request. And I don't need to send any data because I'm going to receive the data from there, from this endpoint. I'm not going to send anything in the request body. Just simply I need to send a request to subscribe the message. I got the response 200, but I need to get the data as well.
Parameter we need to send, right?
No, I don't have any parameter to send actually. Published is okay. There is some exception occurred. Illegal state exception. Okay. There is some exception occurred. That's why I'm unable to get the response. Okay. Exception. There is consumer service error. Okay. Let me check.
So the customer package
Kafka.
is incorrect.
Yeah, there is something problem happened. Okay. I'll check that. I'll stop it. I'll stop it. There is something mistake happened in the YAML file.
Group ID didn't comment, sir. You provided there and here.
No. That is okay. I mean, if even though I provide group ID, but this group ID I'm not accessing anywhere in the code, no, by using
Either
dollar.
the class name is correct, model.customer, or is it
Com dot
consumer?
sir, com dot example dot consumer dot model dot customer.
Can you check the class name?
Yes.
Force is not required, no?
It will be.
But trusted packages and the
Just a minute. I have this is my application.yaml file from consumer, and the package name com.example consumer model.
Check the
It's
class
consumer
name.
model and customer. That's okay.
single quote.
That value I should specify in single quote.
Single quote require.
Yeah.
Sir, is that topic alignment is correct?
Then it is going to give an error because okay, sir.
So serialization annotation on customer class is required.
One, sir. I'll try to. Okay. First, let us check the console about what exception it is. Cannot process serialization exceptions directly. Configuring, okay, error handling deserializer, the value or key deserializer. Just a minute. Is not in the trusted packages. Oh. Okay. That and this both are into different. That's why it is giving me some. It is not in the trusted package, it is saying. Okay, just a minute. We will do one thing. I should configure com.example dot if I use producer.modal, because the exception what it is showing me, the class com.example producer model customer is not in the trusted packages. If you believe this class is safe to deserialize, please provide its name. If the serialization is the only done by the trusted source, you can also enable trust all. Okay, let me do one thing. Just let me add asterisk. The value asterisk. Okay, let me do. So producer has no issue. Producer is working. Service, this producer is working. I have no issue with the producer. So, but only with the consumer. So let us clean package, then hyphen capital D skip test. Yeah. Now I just want to refresh it. Then I want to start Spring Boot app. Okay. No, it is not allowing this asterisk. Class not found. Producer model customer because of asterisk. Okay. We'll do one thing. Okay, I'll try in this way. I think let's try to put both in one common package name. I mean, in the producer application and also consumer application, I'll build the both. I think I can able to solve the issue by using that. I mean, that package is not available here, but it is expecting that com.example.producer.model, and that is not in the list of the trusted package. It is saying like that. If whenever I say trusted packages asterisk. Okay, let's do one thing. We'll try another way. Okay, let's keep
example.
yeah. The example.demo that like that I can use a common package. Let's try. But first what we will do is we will try once without adding these properties. Let's say will it work properly? We will find that solution in 2-3 minutes. He is not in that same, it is saying, okay, no issues.
Can we write trusted
Same
package as
problem.
a base package?
No,
Can
just
we
1
write?
minute. Now what I will do now, I'll do one thing. What I will do, I'll stop the producer. We will try to run this application now. I will show the solution. Instead of keeping that model in producer under producer, consumer under consumer, let us add a common package name. Let's see. Otherwise, I should configure this producer service also with the same properties. Let me check with that. What I will do,
Group ID
okay,
we
what
have
I will do, the
usually
same
given
properties.
somewhere.
That is group ID is not an issue. There is no absolutely problem with the group ID. Just a minute. Here I will add
Base
com.example.consumer.
package.
Okay, let me first check with this consumer.model.
No model.
This,
I think base package till base package consumer.
okay, I mean, it is not any component scan feature of Spring. Okay, so should specify the package name, not the base package. It is not any component scan feature, but 1 minute. Let me add the same even in Kafka producer also, in the producer properties also, like consumer properties. Just a minute.
Choose pen other.
Let's see. What I will do is properties. And first of all, these also should not contain any tab spaces. Tab spaces will give errors. Here I say producer model. Let us build producer consumer once again, and then we will start. Let's see, will it Will the trusted packages work? Otherwise, we'll put the model in a common package, and that package name we will add as a trusted package. In that way, we can able to run. We will check first. Okay, we will also build the consumer first.
Package. I will skip just.
Let's run with the producer first. Okay, producer started. Let's start with the consumer. These are not giving us any solution from producer side. Okay.
Sir, is that topic alignment is correct?
That's all correct. Okay, that is. If any alignment is wrong, then I will get a red cross mark. That is not an issue. We will do one thing. I'll go to my consumer.
In the consumer application YAML, we can add the producer dot customer as
But
trusted
that
package.
that is not available in this application, right? How can I add? There should be a common. Let me check. Otherwise, I can do one thing. Both classes in producer application, consumer application, both we will keep in one common package, and then we can specify that common package name so that anyhow it is not going to use any component scan. First, I'm trying in this way. If it works, okay. Then otherwise, I will put the same class, but in both projects in one common package. Sorry. Okay. I can show you the response in that way. So this is not giving any solution for this. Okay, just a minute. So what I will do now, finally, this model, the package name I want to change. Now refactor. Rename it as com.example.demo.model. It's actually a different package, demo. Okay, it's a demo.model. I have renamed it. and it's going to use demo model, right? Even in the producer also, I want to make it as demo.model. Let's refactor and rename it to demo.model. I'll go to the application YML file and I'll name it as demo.model.
साबिर कल बात हुई थी
Okay, this is called demo.model. Okay, let's producer already started. Let's start the consumer. For that, let us clean package -D skip test. Let us refresh. Okay, let us run. Where is producer.model? We have changed it now. Okay, we'll do one thing, just a minute. Because previously I've sent a message and that is there in the Kafka topic. All right, we will do one thing. We will do one thing. We will configure a different topic. Okay, so just we want to create one more topic actually. And the topic name we will change in our applications also. Let's try with the new topic. Okay, because of course I can delete this topic, but I have only one broker. If I delete the topic, then because no topics are available, that will also be deleted. I mean, the Kafka broker also will stop. I have named it as demo topic. I'm just creating one more new topic called demo topic. And let's target this demo topic. Yeah, demo topic is created. Now I'll go to my applications. I'll change the topic name as a demo topic. Here also I'm just going to use demo topic. Okay, now I just want to, producer already started. I want to start the consumer. But I think I made some change. I need to clean the previous build, then package, then skip test. Done. Next, we'll refresh once. Then we'll run. Okay. Now the consumer started, but we need to check now until both applications are running for sure. But we have to just check our endpoints and then only we can conclude. So then I want to send a publisher request with the same data, but the topic name is a demo topic now. It is not the previous topic. It's a demo topic. Okay, it is added successfully. I got 200 response. Okay, publishing is okay even earlier also, but now our requirement is to get the consumer. So first let me check before consuming. Am I getting any exceptions here? No. That's good. It's a good sign. Now we want to send HTTP GET request to the subscribe endpoint. Oh my God, I got the response finally. Okay. 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 I think so far our problem is with the package name issue. So in the producer application, the consumer application, that the Java class should be in the same package. Okay. I think maybe previously I tried with the same package. Today I have changed the package name. Maybe because of that I got some problem. Okay, at least I also finally got one new point today. Okay. So in the producer and in the consumer, in both applications, whatever the model class that we are preparing, that model class should be belongs to same package. Nothing but it must contain the same fully qualified name. The metadata, I think that's because of it storing metadata, it is comparing whether the receiver also the receiver model is also in the same package or not. Okay. So how the solution we got, everything same, just only the solution we got some time spent, but we got new thing. In the producer application and in the consumer application, this model class is kept in the same package. It is a demo.model in the consumer. In the producer also it is in the demo.model. The two package names you can see.
Belongs to a different team. Sorry.
But metadata will be there now. Whenever we send any Java object to the, it is also going to store this metadata. I mean to say that this fully qualified name in the as part of the message in the Kafka topic. So that's why.
Subscriber side, we need to add producer key deserialization and producer value deserialization. It will become, I think, sir, in subscriber YAML file.
In subscriber YAML file, we have written already deserialization.
No. Producer also we need to add, sir. Producer key deserialization, producer value deserialization. So why? Because now they are using different package using, right, consumer provider.
Yes.
It's maybe it will come, sir. We need to use like automatically deserializing. We need to add the producer key deserialization, producer value deserialization.
Now, okay, maybe you please try. I will also try.
Yes, sir.
You are asking me to write consumer key serializer, deserializer. Similarly, producer key serializer,
producer
serializer.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then I think I no need of adding these properties. I think so. So in the consumer, like a consumer, how we are adding key serializer, the same thing. We also need to add producer key serializer, value serializer. It is what is suggesting. Let's try in that way. Okay, you guys also can try. I'll also try in that way.
Okay.
But anyhow, our requirement here. Thanks. Our requirement is we want to just discuss about whether one application is producing the message and other applications consuming the message or not. Okay, let us try for the last and then conclude. So let's add, for example, 102. I'm sending a customer as a message. There's a new customer registered and I'm sending this message to the topic from where consumer has to collect this registered customer information. And then it has to send an email to that customer that thanks for your registration, something like that. That kind of applications we have to define. But here we are only showing the customer data, not sending an email. Let's say, for example, its name is Blake. He is a customer, Blake. And it is blake@gmail.com. Blake@gmail.com. Okay, let's send. Okay, let's receive. So we have received it. Blake. Good. Actually, what is happening now? Subscriber, I'm showing the message. Actually, subscriber consumer application, what it has to do? It has to get that registered customer. Whenever producer sends that these are customer registered with our site, then immediately consumer has to consume that customer data, and to the customer email, it has to send one email saying that thanks for registering with our application, something like that. That kind of applications we need to implement. But here our requirement is just to know whether it is subscribed or not. Okay, that is at least first you should get the basics so that you can explore on that. Okay, right. So it is tested, it's working fine, and this application code I need to share. Okay. Okay, I'll share. Okay, it's this application code. How I can share it with you, with the other guys. Okay, that is a point.
With the
So share
With the GitHub link,
properties
I'll
file
share.
too. Properties file.
Mhm.
You shown initially.
1 minute. The point is how I'm thinking on.
There
Okay,
are
no
Ashok
issues.
IT
No.
channels. YouTube by WhatsApp channel.
I will, I will share this application. Anyhow, this is going to be, I think, will be there in YouTube. You can go through. The
GitHub, upload the GitHub, sir.
GitHub. That's
Keep
what I mean.
that GitHub
I have
link in the
GitHub
YouTube
repository.
description.
Okay.
Share the GitHub repository link.
That GitHub repository link I'll provide. From there, you can search for these applications. I will upload. Okay, I'll push these applications into GitHub, and from there you can. Okay. Because I need to.
So now it's finished the class.
For Kafka, it is done.
So do you have other class also for that new feature of Java today?
Yes.
11 mm.
Yes. Starts with Java 8 features.
Okay.
First, initially Java 8, after that Java 17.
Okay.
How long it will be the workshop, sir?
It will take around a week.
So do
you in YouTube also available, sir? I mean, recorded sessions.
I think so. We are going to keep it. Okay. Like how we are keeping this Kafka, there also we are going to keep it. Okay. So
because for us it is too late. I think it will be early morning 3 o'clock.
Okay. Got it.
It's office time.
So
1 minute, sir.
So do you also yes? So do you also teach how to design the project application from the scratch and the coding
System design.
structure?
System design.
Which
That is
is
called system design. That is system design. I think we recently have started with some other guy who started with the system design session. Probably immediately we don't start the batches. Okay, we will have a gap of 15-20 days for each
because
of the
in real
topics.
time
Okay, maybe
projects,
next time,
real
maybe
time
myself, or next time maybe I should that. I don't know. Like that. Okay, like that we'll start. Okay, we'll get you will get notified with the with our WhatsApp channel. Okay.
Also taking
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
So,
in real
so
time
this
project,
is
what is the coding structure and what is the
yeah, got it.
application, how it has to be designed and architect and from the scratch.
That's what's called actually system design. That session recently started. I think you just go through the or connect with our admin people. They will. I think it's recently started. That is one thing. And next batch will take again time. Not immediately. We don't start batch for the same topic. Okay, it will take little bit. Another 2 to 3
System
weeks.
design for developers, sir.
Yeah. Yes.
Developers for all.
Can you,
Custom
yes, sir, can
design
you share
patches for all.
yes, sir.
Yeah, this is the GitHub link. So I need to leave now. So already it's late for me. So this is the the URL, GitHub URL. You can just visit this URL and then you can search for these two applications. I will upload probably at some point of time in the afternoon. Right now it's not possible. I'm also in a hurry. So in the afternoon, at some point of time in the afternoon today, I will just push these two applications, the producer and consumer app there, and you just search for them, and it's a public repository and you can access directly. Even you can fork it, whatever. So you can download it otherwise. You can download and try to test them. Okay. So here we will stop the session for this, and then
yes, Sheikh.
that's it
Would
now.
you
Yeah,
also,
we will.
would you where you can get your notes also about Kafka, Sheikh?
Already yesterday I have shared in the WhatsApp in the chat box. Now also I'm sharing it now. If anybody has not yet downloaded, you can download directly from chat box now.
Okay, that is the only notes you have. I think you may have another document that's.
No. The same whatever I have explained, in the session. In the session, whatever I have typed.
I see.
Okay, so that the same document. Okay, once again, if anybody has not yet, or if you want to do it again.
Sir, please.
Okay, I have sent in. Okay, I have sent it in chat box now, and you can download from there. Yeah.
Sir, any
you can download from
JRTP
there. Okay.
Any JRTP batch from you, sir? Can we expect
that we will see, sir. Okay, it will be probably it may take a minimum of 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks later. We are planning, but not now. Maybe around after 3 weeks.
Please, sir. Anytime is okay, sir. But
okay.
Make it possible, sir.
Okay. Thanks, case. Okay. So
thanks.
This is the workshop session for Kafka. Please explore on these basics what we have discussed in these sessions. Please explore more on this. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheikh. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. What's the next session, Shekhar, you are taking?
Yeah.
What is the next one? I mean, tomorrow?
What? Sorry, I didn't get you.
Tomorrow we have other session. Any other?
Yeah.
Class?
I mean,